Guys, I hope you're all well. I am doing a review video today on foundations that I have been trying. I have been going on a bit of a journey with my foundation at the moment because I've been using the same one for ages and it's not quite doing my skin any favours at the moment. My skin type is changing, so at the end of the day I feel a little bit too shiny, so it's obviously not quite suiting me, and I find the coverage is a little bit too heavy. I have much better skin now than I ever used to, so I feel like I can get away with wearing less, and where I can do that it's going to save me time, money and effort, so I want to capitalise on that. I'll show you the product that I have been using. It's Max Factor Lasting Performance and I use shade 102, which is called Pastel, and I have always used that shade. I found the last time I bought it, I put it on and I thought, have they changed the formulation of this? Because I feel like it's darker than it used to be. I think if you get a perfect skin match, then it actually looks like you're wearing less because it just looks like your skin, and that wasn't doing that for me anymore. So shade wise I needed to adjust, consistency wise I need to come away, and in terms of coverage I need something different as well. I was in Boots this one time and I went up to the bareMinerals stand because they, in my mind, I think they are one of the brands that has quite a vast range of foundations. So I thought I'd start there, although not only there, but I started there and I got chatting to a wonderful girl on the stand. She was really supportive and helpful and she had a lot of time for me. I explained what I wanted, that I wanted less coverage and something that was more nourishing for my skin but not too rich. It needs to be light, and she recommended a new product, and that's their Complexion Rescue Tinted Hydrating Gel, and I thought, oh, that sounds perfect because then I'm coming more towards a tinted moisturiser, which I had in mind might be right for me. So this is the sample that she gave me of the Complexion Rescue Tinted Hydrating Gel. So you can see it's quite a nice size little pot, and inside she really filled it up, so I had a lot of product to use, and you can see that it's actually a thicker, almost a mousse consistency, so it's coming away from liquid. It's not liquid, it's not cream, it's almost moussey. They obviously sell it as a gel, but it's not really very jelly in its texture when you apply it. Now I applied this and I liked how it went on. It felt really nourishing and it felt like it was hydrating as well, so my skin felt good after it. And the coverage was almost not there, if I'm honest with you. It was a lot lighter. So I always powder set, and I find that when you powder set it actually adds a little bit more coverage to your skin, probably because I use a translucent powder, and they do tend to have a little bit of pigment to them, one that suits almost everybody but still slightly pigmented. Now if I don't wear foundation at all and I just put my primer on and I powder set that, then that is good enough for me to wear out and about. I don't feel like I'm naked or anything like that. So with that in mind, the fact that I can powder set just primer and be happy, I powder set this and I was happy. And then it had to stand the test of the day, and that's the bit that I decided I wasn't happy with. I found that by lunchtime my skin was shiny enough that I felt I needed to blot it. When you get shininess by that stage of the day, that early in the day, it's probably because some of the products that you're using are not suiting your skin. Now I should mention that throughout trying all of these samples I have actually kept consistent my moisturiser, any serums that I use, and my same primer, so that I don't change too many variable factors, and then I'm able to get a better judgment of whether the foundation is the one I want to buy. I sound like I'm getting really fussy about this, and gone are the days where I would just walk into a drugstore and pick up one of these, because I'm now getting really involved with it and I'm actually coming up with a lot of criteria. So I digress. I got to about lunchtime and I felt like I needed to powder blot, or blot with a tissue and then maybe powder set again, and I can't be arsed with that. So that kind of made me think, maybe this is not for me. Maybe it's too much focused on hydration and not enough on coverage, that it's actually overloading my skin. Now what will happen is if you put products that are too rich on your skin, they won't absorb properly and they'll just sit there. And then as the day goes, your natural production of sweat and oil will add to that hydration or moisture that's already sitting there, and you will just get a bit of a grease slick. And I felt like that was what was happening to me. But I don't judge after just one day, which is why I love to come home with samples, because I can give them a few days testing. So I used it for a further 2 days and exactly the same thing happened. So in terms of coverage, it was okay. There are some days where you break out, or some days where you've got really dark bags under your eyes and you just need that little bit of extra help. So for me, the coverage could have been a little bit more, and the consistency clearly wasn't suiting me. I then went back to bareMinerals because I spoke to the same girl again. So she gave me another sample, and this is stepping it up a gear in terms of coverage and consistency, but still one of their lighter products. And it came in this cute little bottle with their name on the front. And this is the Bare Skin foundation, and it's a serum based foundation. And this is in shade Bare Shell, which is 02. And that suited me perfectly, and I was actually quite impressed because she didn't colour match me and she got it spot on. But she did say that when you use it, you have to shake it first to mix the serum and the pigment together, because it is a serum based foundation. It's still focusing on hydrating the skin, but there's slightly more coverage to it as well. So I tried it and I liked the application of it. It was very, very light, and it kind of went on a little bit like water, but I could feel that it was a greasier product. Now, it's not greasy, but it is at the same time. It felt like I was applying an oil on, but one that didn't leave me shiny, if that makes sense. So in terms of consistency, it was like a serum / oil, but it didn't look like that. It didn't look shiny or greasy, but it just felt like that. And I thought, oh, I hope we're not going in the same direction again. And we did. So the coverage was better. I was much more pleased with the coverage, and I thought this is the perfect amount of coverage for me. It's light, it feels like almost nothing is there, but at the same time it is evening me out, and I feel much more confident wearing it. But it's the consistency that I keep having this sticking point with bareMinerals. Now, I have tried their mineral powder foundation in the past, and I just found that there was no amount of product I could put on without it caking. I put on as little as I could possibly blend into some form of coverage, and I still caked, and I had these creases around my expression lines. And I was just like, this is so frustrating, because I love how it applies, but it just cakes later in the day and it just transfers. So I had a consistency issue with that a few years ago. I had a consistency issue with the Complexion Rescue Tinted Hydrating Gel, which I've just told you about. And I also had a consistency issue with this, because by lunchtime, again, I was starting to feel quite shiny. And that just really makes me lack confidence. I really don't like feeling like it's all slip and moving around. So consistency is a big deal for me. And I struggled with this one as well. It made me feel quite shiny too early in the day. I would expect to have a bit of a shine and a bit of maybe movement in my makeup by about 6, 7 in the evening, because it's had a full day's wear, but not by lunchtime. So I thought, I'll use it up, but that's another goner. So I went back into Boots on another visit, and I went to the Estee Lauder counter in 2012. When my husband and I got married, I went straight to Estee Lauder for their double wear foundation, because in the bridal world there's lots of talk about it lasting the day and staying put and giving amazing coverage. So I didn't ask any questions, I went straight there and I got myself this size sample of the product. I loved it, got on really well with it, but it was heavy. So this time, when I went back to the Estee Lauder stand, I wanted to try their Double Wear Light foundation. Now, I had a couple of annoying experiences with Estee Lauder, because the girl that should work on the counter was just never there, and the other lady from the stand around the back was just determined to ignore me. I had to try 3 times to get this sample, and I never did meet the Estee Lauder lady, but never mind. I met a fantastic guy called Ben, and he works on the YSL stand, which was way across the store. But he obviously clocked me. He saw the fact that I was waiting, and he was currently serving somebody, and then he came all the way across the store to come and help me on a stand that he doesn't actually work on, and he was really, really fantastic. So he gave me a sample of the Estee Lauder Double Wear Light foundation. And then he got chatting to me and he said, oh, have you tried the other foundation from YSL, which I'm going to tell you about in a minute. So he gave me a sample of this, and he was really, really bigging this up. He was saying, oh, it's fantastic, and he said it's got the same coverage as the Estee Lauder Double Wear, but the fact that it's light means it's easier to blend, and it's not quite so heavy. He said it basically does what it suggests in the title. So I was getting all excited thinking, this is the one for me. And I tried it, and I'm actually wearing it today because I do really, really like it. When you apply it, it's like a rich cream consistency, so it feels really nourishing, and it actually goes on and blends really, really well. It is probably about 11:30 at the moment in the morning. I have got no shine whatsoever to my skin, and I've still got even coverage. Obviously you'd expect to at this point, but anyway, so this goes on really beautifully. I don't use brushes or anything, I just blend with my fingers, so I get a real judge of consistency and thickness and blending. And I really got on with it. I absolutely love the product, really enjoy it. It gives a good coverage. It's lighter than the Double Wear. It's light enough for me, but it still evens me out as well. But then Ben gave me a sample of the YSL Touche Eclat foundation, and this is the one I'm going to be buying. This is a nice big sized bottle. He wrote the shade number on the label, and it comes with this cute little spatula inside, so it helps you to apply. And it's a little glass bottle as well, if that makes a difference to anybody. I just think it's a nice little touch. When you apply this, it feels like a water consistency. It is so light. It's not creamy. It's just light. It's like putting on air, and it sets to a powder finish. So it's very, very mattifying, but it's not totally matte. It's illuminating. So I still feel like I have a dewy finish with it. But it sets matte enough that I would get away with not applying a powder set. Now for me that's a big deal. I am powder set crazy. I love powder setting, and it takes a lot for me to feel like I can get away without powder setting, because I'm always conscious and concerned about a shine to my skin. I always have been. It's just something that I feel. And with this, I don't feel like that. So it gives me another level of confidence, which I really love. The consistency is light, but the coverage is really, it's not too heavy. It's not like Estee Lauder Double Wear. I would say it is on a par with the Estee Lauder Double Wear Light. So it's just the right coverage for me. It's exactly what I've been looking for. It's lighter than I have been wearing, but it's not too light that it almost doesn't feel like I have anything. You know, my skin's quite good at the moment. It's quite well balanced, but when it's unhappy, I will have quite rosy cheeks, which I want to try and even out with my makeup, and I might have breakout activity. And you know, there are days where you want your makeup to work that little bit harder for you. So I do want a foundation that's lighter, but I can't have something that's too light that it won't work on those days when I need it to. So for me, the YSL Touche Eclat foundation is just the perfect all-rounder. It also has a slight fragrance. When you put it on, it has a really pleasant, fresh scent to it, and I can only liken it to cucumber. It's something that smells really, really refreshing and clean, and also very natural. The shade that Ben gave me is BR30. If that means anything. But this is going to take me a while to get through, and I'm going to really enjoy this. The full size product is about that big. It's like a cylindrical bottle, and it's got a pump top. I don't know the size of the full size bottle, but he showed me in the shop and I was like, wow, that's really big. And from Boots, it's £32.50. I've just had to shoot off and see to my little girl because she's just woken up from her nap. So this is the bit where I wrap things up. I really hope today's video has been helpful for you. Obviously, I tend to review the products in terms of how they suit my skin. Hopefully I do it in such a way that it would give you an insight as to whether the product would suit your skin as well, because I talk about the consistency and the fragrance and the coverage and the price and blah blah blah. So I really hope that's been useful for you. Thanks for watching, and if you're new, thank you very much for watching for the first time. If you like my videos, please do subscribe and you will be notified of everything that I do in the future. Thanks again for watching, guys. Take care and I will see you next time.